14th of October, Rabbi First Pirkei Avos.
So when we say got it, that means legally we give up our rights? Is that the idea?
So legally, they're going to record you.
Right. So, but when I say got it, that means that I give up all my. You can use the recording any way you want.
Speak to your lawyer about it. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, while we're on this, what does live transcript mean?
That means there's probably some Chinaman in Peking that's copying down word by word what you're saying.
Does it mean that it would print out, or
Was this Chinese guy, the Chinese guy that's doing the transcript, is he also a lawyer?
No, but he probably has one.
Oh,
all right? I'm dipping out of this. This is
Okay, good morning. This is Rabbi
morning.
Shlomo First here at Yeshivat Samanavshi here on Zoom via China here in Yerushalayim, Lahavdil Elef Avdalos. And this is our first year. We're learning about the Aramaic and how it relates to our davening, and how the angels relate to our davening. So let me just put this on your screen. You probably have it maybe printed out as well. And we can continue on. We see the third reference here on the page is Tosus, and that Gemara on Shabbos, Yud Beis Amid Beis. You see where it says Tosus there?
Yes,
Okay. Any volunteers to read?
I do.
Tosis, then it's Sectus? Okay. Okay.
Yeah. See it, Barry?
Yeah.
Barry, you see it?
I got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. She'ain Malachi Shares Mechirin B'Lashon Arami. The ministering angels do not understand the Aramaic language.
Good. So that's the statement of the Gemara, and that's on that. Tosus is going to make several comments.
Okay, Levad Magbiri
Gabriel, one of the angels, right?
Megavriel. Kidamar Sota Beresh Elu Neem Rin. So only from Gabriel, as that he said in Sota, the first Sota.
That's the Gemara in Sota that he's referring to. The Reish Elu Ne'amarim. In Tosus they didn't have Daf Gemara like we have, Lamed Gimel, Lamed Aleph. So we're just pointing out that this is a referencing to a Gemara in Sota in the beginning, Bereish, the beginning, Elu Ne'amarim. That's the name of a parak in Sota. That's where it makes reference to Gabriel.
Okay. So we're talking about Gabriel, as it says in Sota. Amar Mar Ba Gabriel Ulamado She Be'aim Le Shonos Leosef. That it says that Mar says, Master says, Gabriel came and he taught Shevaim. He taught Shevaim.
Right, he taught the 70 languages to Yosef. Yosef was going to appear before Pharaoh, right?
He taught the 70 languages to Yosef when Yosef was in Egypt.
Right.
Uh,
To embarrass Paro?
That's right. So Pharaoh would have to make a promise to him, because the king is supposed to be the wisest of everybody in the country. That's a nice idea, isn't it, Barry? The king should be the wisest person in the country.
Yeah, well, that would be a great thing if we could really get that to happen.
That would be wonderful, wouldn't it?
Yeah, especially when the king only has 4 votes in the Knesset, you know.
Okay.
Tema, and it's a wonder. Dafilu mechasheva shebalev
Oh,
kol adam yodim ulashon aramei ein yodim. So it's amazing that even
that
from
the
what?
machshava shebalev, the thoughts of a person's of shebalev kol adam, the malachim, the angels know the thoughts of every person's heart, right?
Without speaking out?
Right, even without speaking out, the malachim know the thoughts of every person's heart.
Wow.
So it's wondrous to Tosfos. How can it be that if they know even what a person's thinking in his heart, how can he not know Aramaic?
Wow.
It's amazing that even though the angels know all the thoughts in a man's heart, the Aramaic language they don't know.
Right.
What do you mean? What does that mean? If a person is thinking in Aramaic, they're still going to know it.
Well, apparently, if he's thinking something in French, they know it. They know if he's thinking something in Spanish, they know it. So so why can't they? If he's thinking Aramaic, why can't they know it?
So we have two contradictions here. We have the fact that Gabriel taught Yosef 70 languages, which presumably includes Aramaic.
Right.
And that's point one. And point two is we have this statement that the angels know all the thoughts of a person. So how can they therefore not know Aramaic?
Right. Right. And so Tosfos doesn't give any explanation, does he?
Yeah, he just seems to be stating some contradictions.
No, because a person doesn't think in a language. It's a development in the brain. It's only when they're ready to speak it out that they speak a language. In other words, when you're thinking, your brain cells are clicking, your brain cells are exchanging, and your whatever goes on, and that's what the angels read. That's what they know.
Could be. I mean, I don't.
It's like right now. Roy thinks I'm wrong, but he's developing it without a language in his head.
Right.
I would say Adarabba, you think in a language. I even read a book one time. It was a fiction book, but the underlying theme of the book was that the government was controlling the people by modifying the language so they didn't have certain concepts.
Yeah, but that's after the fact. I'll give you another reason. A child doesn't think in a language. They're pre-language, but they're thinking. They have thoughts. They like things, don't like things. They're afraid of things. They're tired, and it's pre-language. It's only later that we give them a language to communicate with us, but to their own thought chemistry, that's where the malach goes gets you. One of my wives, I think, was a malach, but she always knew what I was thinking. and I'd be in trouble too for what I was thinking. But there are female malachs, right? Malachim?
That I don't know. I don't know. I've never heard of
are they sexless? I don't know.
I don't know. I've never heard of a female malach. I don't know. I'm not expert with them. They don't come to visit me regularly or even at all.
Really?
Really. I'm on recorded I'm on recorded Zoom for that. I just said it and then I got it also. But so that's an interesting thing to think about. Are thoughts something, as you said, the thoughts are pre-language, and then we sort of like give them a lavush. We put them like in clothes, like we have our body, and we wear various different types of clothes, right, around our body. So we have a person has a thought, and whatever that exactly is, so it's clothed, its garment has a lavush of a language, right? It's a lavush of a language.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if I'm not sure. I mean,
it's not
so
if a person. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. What's on your mind? What's on your mind, Larry?
Well, try to put into words what I was wordlessly thinking. Yeah, no, because I mean, there's no, Hashem did not create the world where a person who only spoke Aramaic and only knew Aramaic, that the Malachim could come and they wouldn't know how to handle it. It couldn't be.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work. Doesn't work that way. The malach is when Hashem sends a malach to do a job, and he's dealing with a person who only knows and speaks and reads Aramaic. What is he going to say? Oh, I'm sorry, I can't deal with you. You're off the hook. It can't be.
Right.
It's impossible that there would be such a loophole.
Well, that might be sort of what Tosfos' second question is based on, right? If they know the thoughts of a person, right? So what do we need the language for? What is the difficulty that's caused by not knowing a particular language? In this case, Aramaic, right? That if the thoughts are pre-language, so. And if our prayers are an expression of our thoughts, right? The prayers are an expression of our thoughts. So then the malachim should be able to know our thoughts, whether they're
exactly.
Yeah, whether we can express them in any language whatsoever.
Right.
Like we can have it next week's parsha, right? Then we have the three malachim. They came to Avraham Avinu, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they look like one looked like a sailor, one like Rashi explains they look like different personages, and we actually see them talking to they actually see the words of they were talking to Avraham Avinu.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's their whatever method it was, we don't know, but
Well, they were talking in Hebrew though, not in Aramaic.
Yeah, probably Hebrew, although Avram Avinu, that's a whole question. There's a whole question about Aramaic. Well, we're gonna have to explore this a little bit further. So okay, let's just focus again. Just want to clarify Tosas's two questions. He has two questions. First of all, that one Gabriel happens to know all the languages, which is ostensibly including Aramaic. Okay, number one, and then probably a more which he actually close in the form of actual question to Mia that they know the thoughts of a person. So if they know the thoughts of a person, then they should certainly be able to know the prayers of a person. So let's continue on further. Let's see. We're going to get a little bit more deeply into this. Now we're going to see here Rav Prachia. He was one of the Rishonim, and he also has a comment. Let's see what he says, and we'll continue on to try and understand this a little bit more fully.
The fee she'ein malachei hashares machirin. Since the ministering angels don't understand.
Right, makir is to recognize, right? You makir somebody, you recognize them.
Recognize. So the ministering angels do not recognize. Divrei ha-palel, the words of the prayer.
So
Lashon Arami, if it's in Aramaic.
So now again, we're clarifying this. Meaning when the Gemara says Ein Malach Yeshua Makirin Divri Hamifala, the words of the one who prays.
Right.
When they're going to be in Aramaic. When they're going to be those words in Aramaic.
Omar Ein Nizkakin Lo Lishmoa Divarav. That is to say, what is Nizkakin?
Nizkakim is like they're not interested, or they're not required to listen to his words.
Okay, so they're not interested for him to hear his words. Umitoch pach havu lahu ki'ilu einam mechirin lashon laz. And within this,
Because of this,
it is for him as if he did not makirin, I don't know.
They're also like recognize, and because of this, is ki'ilu enu makirin lashon laz. It's as if they don't recognize this foreign language.
Okay. Sheharei Adam Shalo Nizkak La'atzmo Lehis Lamed Lashon HaKodesh. That behold, a person is not interested for himself in learning Hebrew.
Right, so it's like they see why we're kind of putting ourselves in the situation of the Malachim, that they see this prayer coming up to them, which is in Aramaic. So they're not concerned to relate to such a prayer, because they say it's like they're saying, why isn't this person concerned to learn Lashon HaKodesh? Right? He wants to pray. He should learn Hebrew to pray properly like a Jew. What's he praying in this foreign language for? So they're not interested. It's like America before they became liberal, and they decided to make it a bilingual country, Spanish and English together, right?
Is that official? Is that legal?
Spanish? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Spanish is illegal. You got to speak Spanish in America.
I don't think it's legal, Rabbi.
What is it then?
I mean,
think
you don't see English and Spanish signs, like everywhere, like we have here in Israel, where the street signs and the road direction signs are also in Arabic.
Mhm.
I don't think that's actually happening in America.
Well, okay, maybe not.
It depends on what neighborhood you're in, Barry. If you're in Chinatown in Los Angeles, you'll see signs in Chinese. But that's not legal. That's not anything legally binding. That's just
Right.
the municipality trying to accommodate the majority of people in the area.
Right. Yeah, it also lends a little bit of pizzazz, to Chinatown. All the signs are in China, so it must be real Chinese food. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, but they don't require people to know English, because you can opt out for Spanish. You go to the government. I think you go to the government websites. You always have an options for Spanish. So they don't
I
require.
think when you become
Oh
a
yeah,
citizen,
sure. Yeah, no,
it's in English.
it's recognized. It's recognized that Spanish is spoken by millions of people in America, but I don't think officially by law you have to, like in Canada, they have a thing where by law you have to publish certain bilingual signs, and also when you leave your phone message, I think it's in Montreal, when you leave like your message on your phone, thank you for
Yeah.
calling, and I'm sorry I missed you, and all that stuff, you have to also say it in French by law. They have a law there, So
I think our time is up.
for you, it is.
So
It's
here,
only
like
up when Rebbe says it.
so the Malachim, right?
Yeah.
The Malachim, they're saying to this person's not interested in learning Hebrew, so they're not interested in hearing his prayers.
Implying that they do understand.
What? Yeah, right. But suppose they were only raised in an Aramaic community. So what? They have to be penalized because their whole community only speaks Aramaic, and they're
Yeah.
penalized for that.
That's what
fair.
that's what I wanted to say. That's in America. It used to be, if you didn't talk English, forget about it. No one would look at you twice.
Right.
But
Yeah,
now,
like in school.
Now, yeah. But now if you speak Spanish, okay, you speak Spanish. They'll get someone to translate for you in Spanish. They'll get a translator in Spanish. They'll find you'll
Right.
you know
Right.
some jobs you want to get a job, you have to speak Spanish for the job. They don't want someone who speaks English.
Right. I hear what you're saying. Okay.
Right. So here also,
All right.
if you want to come to the official information desk in Shemayim, you have to be able to talk Hebrew. If you don't talk Hebrew, you're not gonna answer your question.
Oh dear.
That's funny. We're in trouble.
I'm in trouble. Yeah.
No, I mean, if this is the case, But this day we have to ask another question. We have to, why is it specifically Aramaic? It's mashma from this, any other language be okay, right? So why do they have something specifically against Aramaic? That's not,
Because
that's not
that's
clear. That's not clear.
because
yet.
that's the language the Nachish spoke.
Oh yeah, you know, you met him?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what the way he speaks to me in Aramaic.
Okay. Let's continue on.
I think we're out of time, Rabbi.
Oh, we ran
How
out.
come?
Really?
Still got
Oh,
another
no, I'm sorry.
10 minutes.
Time.
It's
No.
only 9:32.
Sorry, my bad.
No problem. No
I
problem.
gotta excuse myself for a second, though.
Okay, we'll continue on. Let's see.
Yeah.
Who would like to, anyone like to continue? Barry, would like to continue reading a bit?
Yeah, let's see. Let me get
Where are we? I've lost the place.
I want to raise it up. Yeah. So where are we now?
Wait, so let me get an arrow. Hold on. Let me put an arrow on your screen. 1 second here. Hold on. Okay. Right over here. You see where the arrow is?
Yeah. Shata.
Shari, right here. Shari, right? The second line by the middle of the second line.
Shaharei. Okay. Yeah, the arrow's in the way there. Shaharei Adam Shalom Nizakek La'atzma Lehit Lamed Leloshen HaKodesh. Lo Hakiro Kamo Kain Nami Asin Lo. She'ein Nizikov L'tefiloto.
Right. That Shahari Adam Shalom Nizdak Atzma Mlamed Lashon HaKodesh. The person is not concerned that he himself should learn Lashon HaKodesh. If this person, they ask, why is this person praying in Aramaic? He's obviously not interested in learning Lashon HaKodesh. So therefore, they're not Lo
Makirin?
right, Lo Makirin.
Lo Makirin Mashahu Omer.
Right.
Shemedaber Dabri Bifnei Misha Enu Rotze Lishmoa Devorov.
So it's like you're talking to a person who's not interested in hearing your words, right? You get on the bus in Miami, and the Spanish Puerto Rican is not interested in listening to you in English. He says we speak Spanish in this part of America. This is Spanish territory.
Yeah. Right.
You
Certain parts of Miami are like little Cuba.
Oh yeah, for sure.
No, they actually walk around with guns. I mean, they have pistols tucked in their belt,
Well, okay,
and the police don't. The police don't even go in there.
no, you don't want to go. You don't want to go in there.
Well, it depends.
There's okay. Let's continue.
She'omer lo ein ani makir devorecha. But I don't understand your language.
Yeah, I don't recognize the Maki. I don't recognize what your words. I don't recognize what you're saying. I don't know what you're talking. I don't understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, but why should a person who's only knows Aramaic be penalized? It's not his fault.
Well, no,
Uh,
no, that's the point, because they are criticizing him because he should take the time to learn Hebrew. If you're,
Oh,
Can you-
okay, okay. All
if-
right.
if you're, what do you call it? If you're gonna meet the Queen of England, right, you should take the time to learn English, no?
Right.
You're not gonna
Yeah,
go-
well, oh, sure,
You're
sure.
not gonna talk, you're not gonna talk to her in French, are you?
Well, I guess she could speak to you in French, then you can reply in French.
Yes.
But yeah, I know, before you meet the Queen, they give you a whole big protocol, what you're allowed to say, not allowed to say, the way you stand, the way you hold your hands, the whole thing.
What if what if you don't listen?
Oh, well, then I guess you go to the tower.
Okay, let's finish up.
Velo mishum lishono she'enu mechiro ella shelo haya lo chen be'enav lishmoa divrov bilvad.
Right.
Okay.
So it's not because they don't recognize the language. They know the language very well.
But they won't accept it. But they
Right,
don't accept it.
Right. It's like you're going to go talk to the Queen of England in French. No one's going to be interested in hearing you. Take this guy out of here. Right. Let him,
Yeah.
let him learn how to talk English, get Englishman,
But-
and then he'll come back. So it's not. So when
By
it
the
says,
way, you should know seriously. Yeah.
go ahead.
Sorry. No. I'm sorry. Talking about the Queen of England speaking French. The early kings of England were French, and
Right,
French was
right,
the
right.
language of the court in England.
Yeah,
I'm just throwing that out there to try and impress everybody.
Okay. All right. Very good. If you spoke French, that would impress us.
Well, I had French in high school. Yeah, so I don't remember anything.
Okay, that's okay. No one's testing you, Barry.
Yeah.
Okay, so in this way, in a certain way, this answers the Tosfos's question that because if you Tosfos was understanding the Gemara in a more of a specific way, that they don't recognize the language, they don't know the language. But here,
Mhm.
Prachya is saying that in fact they do know the language, but they're not concerned to pay attention to it. That's what it means.
Okay.
It's a different shot in the Gemara, it's that they do know the language and they understand the language, but they're not interested in this person coming in here and talking Aramaic.
Right. They're insisting on you speaking Hebrew.
Hebrew,
Right.
right. Okay.
But I think this is a very, very low level. I think it's a very, very low. Oh, sorry.
Let's see here. Now we have, yeah, what do you want to say, Ru?
I'm sorry. I think this is a very, very low level of communication. I think probably it's more of a much more profoundly integrated way of communicating up there. Probably just sort of don't even have to think it. I don't know, but I think I would imagine that language is the base level of communication.
Right.
No matter how sophisticated the language is, as far as we're concerned.
Right. We're gonna see about that soon. There's gonna be mention about this particular thing, that there's a reason, meaning when it comes to prayer, we're talking, because part of the discussion is about prayer. When it comes to prayer, you're really part of the in halacha,
Mhm.
prayer has to be verbalized. It's simply not that if you think something in your heart, that's not really considered to be prayer, right? to a large extent. There is a machlokas about that. But we're not going to go into that point yet. Maybe we will eventually can, but we won't go into that point yet. Yeah, let's continue. Now the next point is the Chedushi Maharal. The Rambam of Prague speaks about this Gemara as well. Yeah. Let's see. Barry, you want to continue?
Sure. She'ein malachei hashoresh michirin beloshin arami afal gav the afilu machshava shebelev yodayim.
So again, this is again the Gemara, right? That the Malachi Ashuras don't recognize the Aramaic language. So again, we have Tosfos is understanding that they don't recognize it at all. They don't understand it. It's a foreign language to them. It completely. Rav Prachi was explaining, no, they know the language, but they're not concerned to recognize it as it's not the official language of Shemayim, right? And therefore they don't
accept it.
Right? They don't accept it. Exactly. So now the Ramaral is dealing with that second question of Tosfos. That's what was Tosfos had asked, right? He said, how could it be that they don't recognize Aramaic if they understand what a person's thinking? Certainly they should understand what he's saying. So that's a Tosfos. That's a question according to Tosfos, right? Because Tosfos is learning that they don't know the language. According to Prachi, this is not a kasha because they know the language, they don't pay attention to it, right? Mm-hmm. So the moral is going with he's going to be following suit according to the mahalach, the derech of Tosfos, that they don't know the language at all, right?
Well, wait a second. It says they don't recognize it. Isn't that different from saying they don't know it?
But they don't recognize it. It's not, well, I don't know that you can understand it in both ways. It could go, it's lav dafka one way. They don't recognize it, meaning they don't recognize it as the official language in Shemayim. They don't recognize it as a language of prayer, or they don't recognize it. They're not familiar with it. They don't know it. You could learn it either way. It's not definitively one way or the other. Okay, let's continue on.
Yodim machshava shebelev avo haloshen einum yodayim.
So they definitely, bavadai, they know the thoughts that are in the heart of a person. But haloshen einum, but the language they don't know. Okay.
But they know what's in the heart of the person, so they're kind of like
they know the thoughts. They know the thoughts of a person. They know what you're thinking, but
right.
they don't know what you're saying. So okay, that's going to take a little bit of a stretch to understand that.
Oh, okay, all right. No, I think that makes sense. They're reading your brain operation, whatever. I mean, what goes on in your brain is not a language. It's pre-language. It's pre-speaking. There's some kind of brain activity, so they know that.
Right. So they know the brain activity, but they can't recognize what the person's saying. Not every time. Not everybody says the same thing that they're thinking. You have people who are liars, And when you have a liar, he's thinking this, but he's saying that.
They're still thinking it. You're still thinking the lie.
Well, that's a good question. What does it mean? Now we have to crawl into the mind of a liar. What does it mean when a person's lying a lie? He's saying one thing and thinking another thing, but he's also thinking the thing that he's saying, right?
Right. If he meets an enemy who he hates and he looks at him and and in his head, he's hating the person, but he says, how are you? Nice to see you again, right? So, I mean, that, David HaMelech talks about that a lot in Tehillim,
Yeah,
about how false people, they're nice to him, but they're plotting against him.
right. The Havdil, the American Indians also understood. White men speak with forked tongue.
That's right. Yeah. Here, sign here. Sign here and move to the reservation.
But it's also possible that you have a person who is not thinking along with the words. The person says, "Yehei Shmei Rabbah, may the name be may the great name," and he's thinking, I'm going to go have a cup of coffee at the coffee shop when I get done with davening.
Oh, so right, exactly. So that's the whole point of kavanah. You're supposed to have kavanah during Shmon Esrei. At least you're supposed to have kavanah during Psukkah Zimra also. You should be saying, when you're saying like Baruch Nafshi Es Hashem, you should be thinking about what you're saying and relating to it, not as you said, getting breakfast ready.
So if the angels are hearing the thoughts, so to speak, but not understanding the words, then they're going to be completely misled.
Uh,
No, they'll know.
No, they're reading your thoughts.
They
So
must know.
they're gonna say what the guy is saying is, I'm gonna have a coffee, and that's not what he's saying. He's saying, "May the great name."
Yeah, they'll know. They'll know that.
No, they won't know that.
Why
They'll
not?
know what he's thinking.
That's what he's thinking.
He's thinking, "I'm gonna have a cup of coffee,"
He's got two thoughts going.
but they
right.
don't understand the thoughts that are projecting the words Yehei Shmei Rabbah. They don't understand that.
Right. Okay, so we're gonna work on this some more. Let's just finish the last line of the Maharal, then we'll have to stop and make a break. It says,
Ve'in malachei shoresh nizikin ela leloshen lo machshava.
oh, so the-
V'rai she'ein had
go ahead.
v'rai
Raya, it's a proof.
v'raya she'im hitpalel machshava bilvad ein zeh tefillah klo. It's not.
Right. So the Maharal is saying the Malachei Ashuris, they're not talking, they're not concerned except for what's being said. They mean they know what the person's thinking. They know what the person's thinking, but they're not concerned except for what the person is saying. And this is a raya that a person who prays b'makshava, he's only praying with thought, without verbalization. That's not considered to be prayer at all. There's a whole machlokus about a person whether he can think a bracha, meaning let's say a person, he just had dental surgery or something like that, right? So his mouth is wired up or something. He can't talk. He cannot talk, right? But yet
Right.
he wants to take he's got a straw and he's got a chocolate milkshake in front of him, and he wants to drink his chocolate milkshake. So he can't make the bracha. It's impossible for him to verbalize articulate any words. So according to the Shittas Rambam, we don't paskin this way, but the Rambam says if a person thinks a bracha, it's like saying the bracha, right? We don't paskin that way. But that's what
But
the Maharal
b'di'evid.
says.
But for him, b'di'evid, no.
So the question is, can he really go ahead and drink that chocolate milkshake now? You're not
That's
supposed-
Well, yeah,
That's
but
an-
he has no eitzah. His jaw is wired shut.
right?
Yeah.
So
But that's
why-
an
why would-
extraordinary circumstance, and not normal.
Yeah, right,
Right.
exactly.
I think we should first of all talk about normal circumstances and then says, but what if he's wired up
Right.
or,
Oh,
you know,
Right, right.
Question, the question is, can you rely on the Rambam Shita? Can you rely on the opinion of the Rambam that thinking of bracha is like saying it in these extreme situations? Definitely not in normal situations, but the question would be in unusual situations, can you rely on that opinion to allow this person to fill his desire to have his chocolate milkshake? But anyway, we're going to continue this next week. Today is Yom Khamishi. Tomorrow
Oh,
at
yeah.
9:30. Tomorrow 9:30, we'll speak about the Parsha, Clean Etter, and hope to see you then. And we'll stop for a few moments to continue with this, the Mishnah Berurah here in a few minutes. Mitzvah Shem.
Okay. So we're taking a break now?
We'll take a little break now.
Okay.
okay, thank you.